You know that feeling, that persistent whisper in the back of your mind that says, this isn't quite right. It's the sensation that gnaws at you when you're behind the wheel of a machine you love, a machine that's already impressive, but you instinctively know has more to give. This was precisely my state of mind staring at the stock suspension of my 2024 Alfa Romeo Giulia Quadrifoglio. It was competent, undoubtedly, engineered with precision and care, but there was an undeniable ceiling to its potential, a subtle disconnect between the road and my fingertips that I felt compelled to bridge. The prevailing wisdom, even from the creators of the components I had in mind, suggested that a certain level of modification, specifically with KW DDC coilovers, was uncharted territory for this generation of the Quadrifoglio. Whispers of incompatibility, of unforeseen complications, were enough to make most people step back, to accept the status quo. But for me, it was the opposite. The uncertainty fueled a desire, a conviction that this was a path to true connection with the car. It wasn't about defying logic or inviting disaster. It was about a deep-seated intuition, a belief that the perfect balance, the ultimate responsiveness, was within reach. This wasn't just about making the car faster. It was about making it feel right, about achieving a level of feedback and control that transformed driving from an activity into an extension of oneself. The pursuit of this ideal, this almost obsessive drive for perfection, began to take shape. For years, my hands have been intimately familiar with the intricacies of automobiles. My journey has been marked by a string of Alfa Romeos, each one a distinct chapter, a unique symphony of engineering and soul. While I might not possess a formal engineering degree, I've developed an intuitive understanding, a profound connection to the very essence of these machines. Through countless hours of tinkering, testing, and experiencing, I've honed a discerning palate for what truly works, and, perhaps more importantly, what resonates with me. This personal odyssey, this unwavering pursuit of more, has led me to a place where my gut feeling often trumps factory manuals. It's this perspective, this blend of experience, and what I might call a touch of delightful madness, that I'm eager to share. Ultimately, what truly matters is the unadulterated passion for the machine and the relentless quest for an ideal, even if that perfection exists primarily within the theater of our own minds. Building on that foundation, the initial spark of this obsession wasn't about reckless abandon or inviting chaos onto the open road. Instead, it was fueled by a deep-seated intuition, a conviction that the perfect equilibrium, that exquisite sense of responsiveness, was tantalizingly close. This wasn't merely about coaxing more speed out of the engine. It was about achieving that elusive feeling, about unlocking a level of feedback and command that transmuted the act of driving into an extension of one's own being. The meticulous cultivation of this ideal, this almost fervent drive for an unparalleled standard, began to take its definitive shape, an abstract concept slowly solidifying into tangible adjustments. The journey wasn't about simply replacing parts with aftermarket alternatives that promised a vague improvement. It was about understanding the why behind every modification, about dissecting the intended function of each component, and then subtly nudging it toward a higher purpose, as defined by my own sensory input. There were moments of doubt, of course, periods where the path forward seemed obscured by a fog of conflicting theories and unproven concepts. Yet a persistent inner voice, honed by years of direct engagement, always guided me back, urging me to trust the subtle vibrations, the minute shifts in sound, the almost imperceptible changes in how the car communicated with me. This constant dialogue between man and machine, a delicate dance of observation and adjustment, became the bedrock of my approach. The moment the KW Coilover kit arrived, a thrill ran through me. Despite the manufacturer's hesitant pronouncements regarding its compatibility with my specific model, my mind was already made up. Reading endless online reviews felt like a detour, an unnecessary delay. My preferred method has always been hands-on experimentation, feeling the results firsthand. With tools in hand and a determined glint in my eye, I was ready to dive in. The true objective was to intimately understand the suspension's response, to decipher how it would transform the car's behavior, and naturally, to document every step of this unfiltered journey for everyone who shares the same driving passion. I aimed to prove to myself that improvement was within reach, and show others that embracing a bit of calculated risk is often the key to unlocking better performance. The initial disassembly was less about brute force and more about careful observation. Each bolt, each mounting point, was a puzzle piece. I meticulously documented the factory setup, noting the weight distribution and the stock suspension's characteristics. This wasn't just about removing old parts. It was about establishing a baseline, a tangible reference point against which the KW kit's performance could be measured. The process itself offered valuable insights into the car's engineering, highlighting areas that felt robust and others that seemed to hold potential for enhancement. It was a physical manifestation of the theoretical knowledge I had accumulated over years of tinkering. As the stock components were carefully set aside, the new KW coilovers came into view. Their construction exuded a promise of precision and adjustability. The task of fitting them required a delicate balance of strength and finesse. Each bracket had to align perfectly. Each adjustment purchase had to be set with careful consideration. It was during this stage that the subtle differences became apparent. The stiffer spring rates, the more sophisticated damping mechanisms. I was no longer just replacing parts. I was fundamentally altering the car's connection to the road. This hands-on approach allowed me to feel the inherent quality of the new components, a tangible sensation that no written word could replicate. The real magic, however, began once the coilovers were installed and the car was back on its wheels. The first few inches of movement were critical. I listened intently to every creak and groan, or rather, the absence thereof. The initial sensation was a distinct firmness, a tautness that hinted at a newfound responsiveness. This wasn't just about a lower stance. It was about a more direct communication from the chassis. I could already feel a subtle shift in how the car responded to gentle steering inputs, a promise of agility that had been absent before. The journey of understanding had truly begun. The automotive parts market is a wild west, isn't it? You've got everything imaginable in terms of price and quality. And amidst all that chaos, we have to figure out what's genuinely worth our hard-earned money. In my specific case, I'd already experimented with other suspension systems, including one from Nitron, which, by the way, didn't impress me at all, but that's a story for another time. So, I had a rough idea of what to expect from KW. Nevertheless, the anticipation was palpable. I was eager to feel the difference in steering, in stability, in overall comfort. I wanted to see if the investment would truly pay off. Most importantly, I needed the assurance that I wouldn't inadvertently turn my dream car into a nightmare. Because let's be honest, nobody wants that. With the KW suspension installed, the initial drive was a revelation. The car felt connected. Gone was that vague, disconnected sensation I'd grown accustomed to. Every nuance of the road surface was communicated with a clarity that was both surprising and invigorating. It wasn't a jarring experience. Mind you, the engineers at KW had clearly struck a delicate balance, preserving a commendable level of compliance for everyday driving while sharpening the car's responses to an impressive degree. It was as if the chassis had shed a layer of padding, revealing its true, more athletic core. Navigating familiar corners felt entirely new. The body roll, which had been a noticeable characteristic before, was now drastically reduced. The car simply leaned in with a newfound confidence, hugging the asphalt with tenacity that made me want to push the limits just a little bit further. The steering, previously a bit numb, now offered a delightful feedback, allowing me to feel the grip of the tires and make minute adjustments with precision. It was a dance, not a struggle, between man and machine. This enhanced ability wasn't just about spirited driving. It translated into a greater sense of security and control at all speeds. Merging onto the highway felt more composed, and braking became a more assured affair. I could sense the suspension working in harmony with the brakes, keeping the car planted and predictable. It was a kind of upgrade that made you appreciate the engineering that went into vehicle's design, now amplified and refined. The investment was beginning to feel less like an expense and more like a wise enhancement to the car's fundamental capabilities. The initial installation of the suspension was an ordeal. Fiddling here, adjusting there, fine-tuning, measuring, it was a real struggle. But in the end, I managed to get everything set up precisely how I wanted. And then came the moment of truth. The first test drive. The sensation was indescribable. The car felt glued to the ground. The steering became more precise, and the suspension absorbed the imperfections of the asphalt as if they were nothing. It was like I was driving a completely different car, one that was far more responsive and enjoyable. Of course, I filmed the entire experience to show you every detail, every reaction, every smile. Because, in the end, what truly matters is sharing the passion and joy of driving a machine that brings you pleasure. As I merged onto the highway, the car felt remarkably more composed than before. Braking, too, became a much more assured affair. I could distinctly sense the new suspension working in perfect harmony with the brakes, keeping the vehicle firmly planted and remarkably predictable, even under moderate deceleration. It was precisely the kind of upgrade that made you appreciate the underlying engineering of the car's design, now amplified and significantly refined. This investment was rapidly beginning to feel less like a mere expense and more like a genuinely wise enhancement to the car's fundamental capabilities. Each mile driven was reinforcing this growing conviction. The initial few miles after the suspension upgrade were a revelation. Every turn, every gentle curve in the road felt more confident. The body roll, which had been a familiar, if slightly unsettling characteristic of the car, had been dramatically reduced. It wasn't just about minimizing roll. It was about how the suspension controlled the car's movement through the corner. There was a connectedness, a direct communication between the tires and the pavement that hadn't been there before. It allowed me to push a little harder, to feel the limits of adhesion in a way that was both exhilarating and safe. The feedback through the steering wheel was clearer, providing an intimate connection to what the front tires were doing. This newfound agility wasn't at the expense of comfort, which was a crucial balancing act. Over bumps and uneven surfaces, the suspension managed to soak up the impacts effectively. Instead of jarring jolt, there was a controlled, almost plush absorption. It felt as though the car was gliding over imperfections, rather than being battered by them. This dual capability, improved handling without sacrificing ride quality, was a hallmark of successful suspension modification, and it was exactly what I had aimed for. The feeling was akin to having a conversation with the road, understanding its nuances through the subtle vibrations transmitted through the chassis. The visual confirmation of the transformation was just as satisfying. After the initial adjustments in the first drive, I took a moment to visually inspect the car. The stance looked more purposeful, more aggressive, yet still refined. The subtle lowering and improved alignment of the wheels hinted at the mechanical changes that had occurred. It was a subtle, almost understated aesthetic improvement that spoke volumes about the functional enhancements. The car now possessed a visual presence that matched its improved driving dynamics, a holistic transformation that extended beyond mere mechanics to the very soul of the vehicle. With the core installation complete, the meticulous process of fine-tuning began. It was a phase where every minute adjustment held significant weight, dictating the car's ultimate character on the road. The height of the suspension, the precise pressure within the tires, and the intricate angles of the alignment. Each element was a variable in the complex equation of driving dynamics. And I, with my inherent, some might say obsessive, attention to detail, was determined to achieve absolute perfection. This pursuit of the ideal setup involved numerous test drives and frequent visits back to the workshop. It was a cyclical journey of trial and error, of subtle modifications and re-evaluations. The mechanics patiently endured my exacting standards, a testament to their professionalism and perhaps their own appreciation for a car pushed to its limits of performance. Each alteration, however small, was meticulously noted and its impact assessed. During this intensive period of refinement, a profound realization dawned. The new suspension wasn't merely an upgrade in terms of raw capability. It had fundamentally altered my connection with the machine. The initial hints of improved handling blossomed into a tangible sense of confidence. I felt a deeper synergy with the car, as if its responses were an extension of my own intentions. The road no longer felt like an external force to be contended with, but rather a canvas upon which we, the car and I, could dance. This heightened sense of control and connection was more than just a performance gain. It was an emotional reward. The subtle feedback through the steering wheel, the predictable way the chassis settled into corners, the overall planted feel, it all contributed to a driving experience that was both exhilarating and deeply reassuring. This newfound confidence, This feeling of being truly in command was an intangible benefit that far surpassed any monetary value. It was a transformation that resonated not just in the mechanical prowess of the vehicle, but in the very way I experienced the act of driving. What I learned from this entire journey is that there's no one-size-fits-all solution. Every car is a unique entity, and each driver possesses their own distinct preferences. What proves effective for one individual might be entirely unsuitable for another. This realization underscores the paramount importance of experimentation, testing, and meticulous adjustment until the ideal setup is achieved. And, crucially, one must not be afraid of making mistakes. After all, errors are an intrinsic part of the learning process. In my particular case, those missteps served as profound teachers, imparting invaluable knowledge about suspension systems, the intricacies of automobiles, and, perhaps most surprisingly, about my own capabilities and limitations. The journey wasn't about reaching a static point of perfection, but rather about embracing a dynamic state of continuous refinement. Each adjustment, even those that initially seemed to move me further from my goal, ultimately contributed to a deeper understanding of the interplay between components and driver input. It was like composing a piece of music. A wrong note, while jarring at first, could inspire a more harmonious melody or highlight the beauty of the notes that followed. I began to anticipate how certain changes would affect the car's behavior, not just in isolation, but in conjunction with other modifications. This predictive capability, born from a series of trial and error scenarios, was a testament to the educational power of hands-on experience. Furthermore, this process fostered a newfound respect for the engineering that goes into these machines. It's easy to appreciate a car from a distance, but delving into its mechanical heart and understanding how each part influences the whole elevates that appreciation to a profound level. I started seeing the chassis not just as a frame, but as a carefully sculpted platform designed to react to forces in specific ways. The suspension became more than just springs and dampers. It was a sophisticated system of control, dictating the car's attitude, its ability to grip, and its willingness to change direction. This deeper insight transformed my relationship with the vehicle from one of passive consumption to active engagement. The mental aspect of this development was equally significant. Initially, the prospect of making significant changes felt daunting, a fear of irreversibly altering something that was already functional. However, overcoming that apprehension and embracing the iterative nature of tuning unlocked a sense of empowerment. I was no longer merely a passenger in my own driving experience. I was an active participant, a co-creator of the car's character. This shift in perspective was liberating, allowing me to approach every drive with a sense of curiosity and an eagerness to explore the nuanced feedback the car provided. The pursuit of the ideal setup became less about achieving a final destination and more about the joy of the exploration itself. It became clear that the pursuit of automotive perfection wasn't a one-size-fits-all endeavor, and a crucial lesson began to crystallize. The most expensive option isn't always a superior one. There are numerous instances where more budget-friendly components can rival, and sometimes even surpass, their pricier counterparts in performance. Conversely, a high price tag doesn't automatically guarantee an equally impressive output. This understanding fundamentally reshaped my approach. It underscored the absolute necessity of diligent research, meticulous comparison, and a thorough consumption of reviews. More importantly, it highlighted the value of intuition, that gut feeling that often guides us toward the right choice when all the data points seem to align. Ultimately, the goal is to identify that singular component, that perfect fit, which harmonizes with both individual needs and financial realities. This realization was particularly resonant when it came to the suspension system. After extensive deliberation and countless hours poring over specifications and user experiences, the KW suspension emerged as a standout option. It wasn't just about finding something that fit the budget. It was about discovering a solution that offered a compelling blend of enhanced performance and exceptional value. The tangible difference it made to the car's handling was undeniable. Gone was the vague, disconnected feeling that had plagued previous drives. In its place was a sharp, responsive connection to the road, a newfound precision that allowed me to place the vehicle with confidence through every corner. The subtle, yet significant, improvements in stability and feedback transformed even mundane commutes into engaging journeys. The decision to invest in the KW suspension was, in retrospect, a pivotal moment. It validated the earlier shift in my mindset, proving that thoughtful selection could yield profound results. The improved ride quality wasn't just about comfort, though that was a welcome benefit. It was about the car's ability to communicate its intentions more clearly, to provide a richer tapestry of sensory information. This allowed for a more intuitive and therefore safer driving experience. The car felt more alive, more responsive to my inputs, and as a result, I felt more connected to it than ever before. This component, in particular, represented a significant step forward in bridging the gap between aspiration and reality, proving that excellent performance doesn't always come with an exorbitant price tag. It was a testament to the fact that smart choices, backed by informed decisions and a healthy dose of personal judgment, could truly elevate the driving experience. And finally, a piece of advice for anyone contemplating a suspension upgrade for their vehicle. Don't rush the process. Proper installation and fine-tuning demand time and meticulous attention. Trying to cut corners in the name of speed will inevitably lead to a situation where you'll have to redo everything, costing you more time and effort in the long run. It's simply not worth the haste. Naturally, seeking out a qualified professional to guide you through this is paramount. Ultimately, your safety is the top priority. In my own experience, a good dose of patience, coupled with the invaluable assistance of my trusted mechanic, proved absolutely essential in ensuring everything went according to plan and the results were as intended. This experience reinforced a crucial lesson. Embracing patience is not a sign of weakness, but rather a strategic advantage, especially when dealing with intricate automotive modifications. The allure of immediate gratification can be powerful, but often overshadows the subtler nuances that contribute to a truly superior outcome. Taking the time to understand each step, to observe the intricate adjustments, and to communicate effectively with a technician allows for a deeper appreciation of the work being done. It transforms a transactional service into a collaborative effort, where your input and the mechanic's expertise converge to create something truly optimized. The feeling of accomplishment after such a project isn't solely derived from the improved performance of the car, but also from the journey of careful consideration and deliberate action. It's the knowledge that you invested not just money, but also your time and mental energy into achieving a goal. This mindful approach extends beyond the workshop. It fosters a greater sense of responsibility and care towards a vehicle, encouraging more thoughtful driving habits and a keener awareness of its capabilities and limitations. The car becomes less a mere mode of transport and more of a partner, a finely tuned machine that responds not just to commands, but to a shared understanding. To wrap things up, here's a piece of advice I always try to live by. Don't get too caught up in trends. Every vehicle has its own unique character, and what's considered stylish today might be completely out of vogue tomorrow. That's precisely why it's so crucial to follow your own instincts and do what brings you genuine joy. If modifying your ride with a lowered stance is your passion, then embrace it. If you dream of bolting on a massive rear spoiler, go for it. Ultimately, the most important thing is that you feel happy and content with your car. For me, the specific suspension system I chose brought an immense sense of satisfaction, and that's truly what matters in the end. This personal philosophy has guided my decisions, ensuring that every modification, every tweak, aligns with my vision and enhances my driving experience. It's about creating a connection, a bond that transcends the purely functional. When you invest your time and passion into something, it naturally becomes an extension of yourself. You learn its nuances, you anticipate its needs, and you appreciate its strengths even more. This journey of customization isn't just about aesthetics. It's about understanding, about respect, and about celebrating the individuality that each machine offers. The satisfaction derived from such personalized projects is profound. It's not just about the finished product, but about the entire process. The hours spent researching, the careful selection of parts, the meticulous installation, all of it contributes to a deeper appreciation for the final result. And when you finally get behind the wheel, experiencing firsthand how your efforts have transformed the driving dynamics, the feeling is incredibly rewarding. It's a testament to the power of passion and a reminder that true happiness often lies in pursuing what makes you feel alive and fulfilled, especially when it comes to your beloved automotive companion. This entire journey with the KW suspension has revealed a truth far deeper than simply owning a visually appealing or powerful machine. It's about forging a profound connection with the very essence of the automobile, about delving into its intricate workings, and relentlessly pursuing an ideal state in every minute aspect. It's about savoring the unadulterated joy of piloting a vehicle that not only ignites happiness, but also elicits a genuine smile with every turn, every undulation of the road. And, perhaps most importantly, it's about extending that fervor to others, serving as a beacon to encourage them to embrace their own automotive passions. Ultimately, life is far too fleeting to spend it behind the wheel of an unremarkable, uninspiring car. The tangible difference the KW suspension makes, even on familiar routes, is nothing short of revelatory. Each adjustment, each subtle shift in weight transfer, is now a deliberate and predictable ballet. The car doesn't just move, it dances. This isn't merely an upgrade. It's an evolution, a transformation that has unlocked a new dimension of driving pleasure. It's the kind of transformation that fuels a desire to explore further, to push boundaries gently, to understand the interplay between driver, machine, and asphalt at a more intimate level. The pursuit of this refined experience has become a continuous thread, weaving through my appreciation for the engineering and the sheer artistry involved. Witnessing the ripple effect of this passion has been particularly gratifying. Seeing friends, initially observers, begin to ask thoughtful questions about their own vehicles or express a newfound curiosity about the mechanics behind a smooth ride is a testament to how enthusiasm can be infectious. It's a reminder that shared experiences, especially those born from genuine interest, can create bonds and inspire action. The world of automobiles, when viewed through this lens of personal engagement and meticulous refinement, is an inexhaustible source of fulfillment, a constant invitation to learn and to grow. This experience has solidified the understanding that the pursuit of excellence in automotive customization is not a destination, but continuous, evolving process. It's about the learning, the problem-solving, the ultimate satisfaction of achieving a result that exceeds expectations. It's a philosophy that extends beyond the garage, influencing how I approach challenges and strive for improvement in other areas of life. The road ahead, with this enhanced machine and a broadened perspective, promises to be one filled with more discoveries, more smiles, and a deeper appreciation for the art of motion.